Welcome to Loleventvods. Watch the full game of today's LTA 2025 matchup.
We did talent ones to test out the thing that takes the pictures and does the scans, and they let me have the Jinx rocket launcher for mine. And I asked our producer, I was like, I need to have my rocket launcher one, and I still don't have it. So I need Zeus. If you're watching,
not a happy
if you're watching right now, I really still want that rocket launcher statue.
Flowers is coming for you.
Yeah, this is the closest to 80 carry play I will ever get. Otherwise, I am swapping it to you every time we ARAM. Guaranteed.
All right.
Let's go ahead and see what we get in here in this second game, though.
We're getting Varus Ezreal.
Yeah, oh, please. No, come on.
Not bad.
The worst part is you're right. Okay, it's Jace, Talia, Aurora banned out by Disguise, who are on the blue side this time. C9 banning out Yone, Rumble, and Vi. Just lock Varus, dude. We already know. Come on, just do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when you're watching a really predictable show and they're like, the hero's back in the tournament. They're like, we already know you're
like,
getting out of it,
dude,
but
get
just
out of
beat
there.
them up. Come on.
It's fine. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Now, blow my mind right here, C9. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe it.
Did I just predict that?
That is incredible.
Wow.
Azale, how do you have this level of foresight? I know that you are a literal world champion.
Many years of practice and dedication.
This is just incredible.
Yes.
All right. Well, we've got the exact prediction that you win after there, but we also have Blabber on the dog.
On the dog. So he's going to be playing the Nefiri. Has Blabber actually played it yet this split? No, he has not. So that's actually really exciting to see how he's going to perform on it. It definitely has been quite a popular pick. Xin Zhao has been one of those things that is getting picked into it quite a lot. And it is going to be paired with the Rise. So we're going to have the Rise here for Avadaga. Going to be looking more towards those side lanes, that split push. I do think this is a much harder game plan to execute on. And that is kind of my concern already for DSG with what they're going for.
And the thing that I was immediately drawn to when Disguise locked the Xin Zhao, that champion's record in LTA so far here in Split 2, 4-10. Xin Zhao is losing like it's his job, and Disguise picking that one here, this feels like one of those kind of just do a little bit of everything, don't excel at anything type of junglers. It just fits into any comp, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing necessarily, but it's definitely not going to be a win condition on its own. The Rise traditionally wants to just scale and split. The reaction from Cloud9 will be the victor to deal with that in the mid lane. As we get into the second half of the bans, we've got both AD carries, both mid laners, both junglers drafted, and so the focus goes to support for the bans as Nico and Bard are taken away.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how heavily they actually pinch some of these heavy engage type champions down in the bot lane. Of course, when you are playing Varus, when you are playing Ezreal, you can play poke variants, and you can just try to play, do those pairings with things like Nico or with Karma or whatever, and try to really turn it into kind of more of the aggressive 2v2. But right now, both teams does need some form of engage. They do need some way to actually start up fights, unless they're going to be happy to just kind of absorb that engage or play heavily through side lanes. So that really is what's going to be on the table here. We'll see if it's going to be another support ban from DSG. I would expect it to be like a Nautilus or an Alistar ban. It is going to be that Nautilus ban. And then I'm expecting it to be support counterpick. Yeah, so I think they actually are going to go for support counterpick. So they are going to just blind the top lane here for Thanatos. They're just going to go Renekton. Wouldn't be surprised to just see Aatrox or something along those lines for Castle. That feels like a pretty common matchup that we do see. I actually think York is not bad into the Renekton, but people generally don't love that matchup because Renekton can really easily avoid the cage. You just don't have to deal with it whatsoever. So Aatrox will be my expectation. And then, of course, you have to go support here. So we're just looking at some sort of a hard engage support from Huhi. And when we think about like the champions that he actually plays, I mean, he pretty much everything he plays is banned out except Poppy, so he could just go like Leona or something more standard like that. And then because they're leaving support for 5 from Vulcan, I am kind of thinking that they might go towards like double ranged and try to play something more aggressive and bully the 2v2. Although, like, if they were just going to go for like a Leona or that type, I feel like they probably would have done it. But instead, it's just going to be the Braum. So it is a strong kind of answer into the Leona, strong for the 2v2. Not going to give them a lot of engage, but it is really strong against a lot of what DSG has drafted. 3 melees, you can block a lot of the stuff from the Varus, and just kind of make things difficult to actually get in onto this Ezreal that's already going to be super hard to lock down.
Yeah, between Braum having the shield and his ultimate, Victor having the gravity well, plus Chaos Storm for zone control, I feel like Cloud9 has a lot of tools to react when Disguise goes after them, but I think you hit the nail on the head. The engage mechanisms for C9 feel very limited in this draft.
Yeah, they are very limited. I mean, it's like
Renekton stun.
Flash Renekton stun. You know, the dog just goes in. The Flash Brummel, which is kind of like the biggest meme of hard engage.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, if you're C9 and you are expecting to win the laning phase, you don't have to have a lot of engage because you can just be first to the objective and just kind of absorb that engage, right? So, you know, if you think that you're going to be the ones winning, if you think that you are going to be in that advantageous position, you just show up to the objective first. Your opponents have to fight into you, and that's where the engage matters a lot less, because all of a sudden, if you're just walking in and you get tagged by a Braum Q and you're getting poked down by Victor Laser and the poke as well coming through from the Ezreal, things do get really difficult.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if Disguise can take advantage of the fact that C9 doesn't have a lot of engage mechanisms, and if they can keep their heads above water during the laning phase, if they can get to the point where, hey, Cloud9's not just automatically first to every objective, they might have a serious edge.
Yeah, they really could. I mean, they do have some pretty good pick between the Leona as well as that potential pick from the Varus. We are into a pause farm and show up to the fights.
Yeah, it's the Victor style, right? And I feel like the pressure is on Abadaga going up against Loki, who has been a big performer for C9. Abadaga, I feel like, has had a lot of struggles so far this split in terms of making a meaningful impact in a lot of the games, as XU immediately forced to flash away, but still stunned up. C9 going all the way in here, needs one more shot, and it's first blood at 47 seconds for C9.
That is rough. And XU was kind of just walking in, I think, for a ward. I guess just did not expect them to be there, but at the same time,
Braum, man.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he was just assuming Braum was going to be on the bot side and he could walk in on top side, but either way, like, that is really, really risky. If you're not going to overload one side and walk in with a bunch of people, that is going to be dicey, and he gets massively punished.
All right, so it's a rough start for Disguised, and while we're seeing what else is going to happen at level 1, we got Kanga standing by for an interview with C9 coach Anero.
Thank you very much, Flowers. I have Anero. First off, I'm hearing that the first blood already for C9. Was that planned ahead of time?
We did have a plan level 1. I couldn't see it since I've been here with you, so I don't know if it was our plan that worked, but yeah, we were thinking we would get first blood for free, so we'll see.
Okay, it was planned. It's against DSG. A lot of people know you as the assistant coach for C9, but before that, you were on DSG. I want to get your thoughts on the org and having a creator org step up to the bat and actually be here at Tier 1.
Yeah, I mean, DSG was chill. It was a very, like, relaxed kind of org. We were in Academy and it was remote, so it's like a very different environment than being in person. But it was chill. It was cool to have like a creator backing it. I thought it was pretty nice.
All right, cool. Well, best of luck. I'll let you get back to the game and actually watch your team. Back to the casters.
It was pretty nice. It was chill.
Pretty chill.
You know, that's a pretty good review.
Yeah.
It's definitely more chill than this early game has been for Disguised after the rough start there. I like the fact that he hadn't even seen anything, but he was like, yeah, we should get first blood for free. And then once he goes back and watches the VOD, it's going to be like, yeah, Xin Zhao just walked into it and you got first blood.
Yeah, I wonder if that was the plan, because sometimes there are these things where it's you can study a team, and what a lot of coaches will do is they'll have an analyst or themselves that will go and they watch all the level 1s that a team does and you just see, does the same guy go to the same place every time? Do they ward in the same spots every time? And sometimes you can really prey on these kind of just lazy habits where people aren't mixing it up. So I would be super curious to know, you know, maybe we can hear from them again later. Like, was that the plan that they thought they were going to get a free first blood on? Does XU often at that time walk in solo and try to get a ward?
I mean, I feel like it is a pretty common ward spot for blue side jungler to take. Just throw the ward down there near the chicken pit. Make sure that you've got an eye on whenever that camp is going to be cleared to be able to track the guy better. But again, I just have to criticize, you're against Braum. This is one of the most I'm going to kill you at level 1 champions in League of Legends.
And he did.
Yeah, he lived up to the reputation. Split screen here, taking a look at where all the lanes are at as Thanatos has command over the top lane here early on. Meanwhile, bottom side, it's Scary Jerry and Huhi utilizing the laning power of the Varus to take priority down in that half of the map. Both junglers in the top side now as they started in bottom, clearing their way up towards the top side of the Rift. But you can see XU deciding, okay, I do not want to fight Blabber if he's also up here, so he's just going to take the extra time, path down towards that bottom side crab, because he knows that C9 is going to have control over the top side.
Yeah, exactly. Both of those junglers were missing their flash. Of course, Ven also did spend his flash to be able to get that level 1 first blood and got himself a dagger with that money. So not a massive advantage that he's going to have down on that bot side. I didn't actually catch if he bought another potion at level 1 or if he just sat on that dagger and just kept the one potion. But of course, you know, not going to be unhappy about getting it, but it is not like this massive, massive advantage. First Blood obviously is always nice, but level 1 First Bloods mean a lot less than they used to because they took away the extra bonus gold from
it's
First
no
Blood.
400 gold.
Exactly. So, back in the past, you always got to get that extra longsword, or you could get a longsword plus a potion, or you could do there's a lot of better buys that you could actually pull off.
Now you get
with
dagger.
The old gold. Yeah. Now you get a dagger, and for a lot of champs, it's like. I've had these games where it's like you get one as a top laner, and it's like a champion that doesn't want to build dagger. You're like, okay, I guess I get like a boots. I get,
Okay, it's like,
sure. You get something. It's not bad by any means, but it's definitely not as big of a deal, I feel like, as it used to be. As Thanatos is going to TP straight on into bot lane where Castle was waiting for him. Couldn't really get a big trade, honestly, off that TP. Sometimes it can be dangerous to TP into champions like the Aatrox that do have those skill shots where they can kind of just land them and get an immediate good trade.
Ooh.
But that one was quite nice.
Yeah, that was good. Hit Q1 and Q2 there on Thanatos in the sweet spots. Even gets the proc the passive afterwards to get a little bit of extra heal and damage for himself. Also, just worth pointing out, because we made such a note of it in the previous game with Castle not having the teleport, is back to very standard summoner spells for both top laners here in game number 2 with the flash TP on both Renekton and Aatrox. Bottom laners, the barrier for Scary Jerry once more, but Sven with the cleanse. I feel like that's just a given when you're up against 2 different point-and-click CC champions. You got to have some sort of a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Yeah, absolutely. Blabber is moving up towards this top side, will be spotted. XU is over on the Gromp, so if he wanted to commit to this, he could obviously move. And they saw Avidaga was missing from mid lanes. There's no way you're going to look for that play because he could just Realm Orb up towards it. The Grubs are spawning here in 5 seconds, and we'll see if Avidaga can maintain mid push there to try to give them first look towards those Grubs. Both junglers just hanging out. Whoever goes for the play first, I think, could get punished, but now Blabber knows exactly where XU is.
Yeah, XU just hanging out in Pixel Brush on top of that control ward as C9 recognizes this is a difficult situation exactly for the reason that you stated. The Realm Warp on the rise guarantees first move for the mid laner. And so now XU is going to start up the Grubs for Disguise. Remember that in game number 1, C9 had total control over the top side objective pit, start to finish. Now Sven and Vulcan putting a little bit of hurt onto Huhi while they clear out the control ward up here in the Pixel, and C9's just deciding, hey, the rise advantage, the fact that they've already got priority over the river, this isn't something we want to waste time contesting. They're just going to trade objectives going for the first Drake themselves, as Sven and Vulcan get a winner's bite proc there onto Huhi, now returning a little bit more onto Scary Jerry. They'll win out in the 2v2, but not in a meaningful enough way to really threaten anything.
Yeah, exactly. They are going to be able to get that chunk at the very least. I'm kind of curious how the mid lane 1v1 went, because Loki's only buy on his base was a Ruby Crystal, right? So now he goes back and gets the Catalyst, so he was obviously forced to base quite early, and I think that's part of the reason why he was kind of lane locked there, where Avidaga was able to get the push, and then get the push again. That earned them the Grubs, so good job by Avidaga. It's not like a big CS advantage by any means, and Loki's just down 1 wave, but XU gonna look.
XU, nice job there. Had the 3 Talon Strike absolutely primed, ready to knock Sven up as soon as he hits him with the Wind Becomes Lightning. The Audacious Charge allows him to force the C980 carry back. Vulcan also had to use the heal there. This is nice early pressure coming out from Disguise.
Yeah, it's a good little bit of pressure, but at the same time, Avidaga now going to have to go back to base, is going to lose a couple minions. I'm concerned about top lane, though. Thanatos has a 22 CS advantage. That is monstrous, especially when you're going to go grasp Aatrox. You are going more for that laning phase to be able to kind of survive. And this was his choice of counterpick, right?
Yeah.
Like, he picked second. It was a blind Renekton, and Thanatos is kind of just giving him the business.
Thanatos has kind of been that guy in top lane so far in this split. He is definitely not one to trifle with, and happy to blind slam the Renekton because it looks like this Aatrox is not up to the task.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just so curious what went wrong. Is Avidaga wrong side of the map?
Yeah, this might go wrong as he has to flash away there. He was standing on top of the gravity well. If he tried to walk away from that, he's guaranteed to get stunned. Then you just save the auto attack to layer the Winter's Bite right after it. It's a real problem as Vulcan and Loki walk into the brush, and now the Leona engage comes out from Huhi, and it's a lot of trouble onto the Cloud9 mid laner. Loki has to flash away, but it might be too little, too late. He's burning, but he lives.
Yeah, he gets out of there, and I want to see that again. I got to be a little bit critical. XU finished the Raptors before he moved over, and that's like they're 1 auto off of killing him. I really have to feel like if you just came over that little bit earlier, you probably actually killed Loki there. Obviously you want to be efficient, you want to be able to finish that camp, but that is kind of a costly mistake if it's really what let him get out. At the end of the day, it does just be that it is a trade of flashes, and it was the Ignite being used there from Huhi. But yeah, not sure exactly what all went wrong. So let's watch this one more time. So, I mean, yeah, I just feel like if you're gonna commit to this play, then you want to be pulling off a lot earlier. Like, he's pretty late to it, and then he goes back to actually finish it off and spent his W. So now when he ease in, he has no W.
Yeah, if there was a win becomes lightning there, Loki's dead.
100%. Even if he didn't have his W and just came over earlier, that was a kill. So I get it. You want to be efficient, but that is one of those cases where that was a kill. And, you know, yeah, you got your camp, but not worth the trade.
You got to call a mistake, right? Like going back, if you could take that one back, you want to move over every single time. As we'll see how this goes. Disguised, once again, looking to control the top side of the river. Blabber jumps over the wall, but he's got backup. XU's going to be the target, but Blabber's got to be careful. Forced to flash back over with the Hound's pursuit, as Disguised was ready for the Nefiri.
Yeah, really well done there from XU. You know, criticized the last play, but this time the Crescent Guard knocking the Braum back over the wall meant that Blabber had to flash.
And now Vulcan could be in a little bit of danger. Nice sidestep there on the Solar Flare, as Loki and Vulcan both potentially could have been hit, but wisely just separating, making that Solar Flare thread the needle.
Yeah, good little advantage there for Scary Jerry now as far as the farm is concerned. He is up about 2 waves right now. That is, the gap is closing as Sven was able to pick up a couple CS there, but at the end of the day, he's going to grab these. And yeah, is up that full 2 waves and a little bit more. Top lane still, though, is expanding, it feels like, that advantage. 26 CS for Thanatos as the wave has equalized down here. And when Thanatos completes that first item, he is going to be feeling really good against Castle.
Oh, yeah. Now let's keep our eyes on this second set of grubs as the pit is warded by C9. They know that Disguised is starting it up. Disguised already got the first 3 for free. C9 just opting to go for the handshake objective trade on that, but it looks like this time around they're not willing to let the same thing go down. Disguised has already acquired the first. They're going to get the second. Vulcan wanted to get the interrupt there with the Glacial Fissure. Meanwhile, it looks like a catch on Loki results in the first kill of the game for Disguised. A trade of ultis down in the bottom lane just kind of results in a meaningless back and forth as both champions are still at about half HP, and Disguised wins out 2 grubs for 1 kill for none in the top side scrap.
Yeah, I really like that. They knew there was no flash. Now another fight.
We're not done yet. Vulcan getting into a little bit of trouble here alongside Blabber, who, remember, has no flash. He gets caught out by the Solar Flare, and XU jumps over the wall, setting it up for Abadaga. 1 more hit from the 3-talent strike of the Braum might just set up another kill as Vulcan is knocked over and Disguised go up 3-1.
Okay, DSG making some plays happen here. Up 1.2k. They grab the Feats of Warfare. They have the 5 grubs. It's a 3-0 Abadaga as well. As I just really like this look. They have the eyes on Blabber. They see him go over the wall. They had spotted Loki with their ward on the side that was in that brush and are able to actually catch him as he's going over. They realm more bottom. They get that kill. They go up towards top side. C9 trying to deny them entrance in towards that top lane to deny the farm, but this is a strong Abadaga here. Him, as well as Zinzao, just stand, they fight. Sven can't really get involved. Huhi arrives, Blabber's an easy kill, and then flashing forward here, XU just barely able to get in range for that final auto, gets the Q knock-up, hits him with the wind, becomes lightning, he's able to finish off the kill. Really well done, and DSG claiming their first meaningful lead of the series.
Yeah, we criticized XU earlier for not being to the play when he needed to, but since then, he's been exactly where he's needed to be in the couple of minutes that have happened, right? Like, taking a look at Abadaga here as well. His first 6 games on Disguised, 0.9 KDA as a mid laner, does not feel great. But versus Team Liquid, 10 KDA, really showing up so much more in that game that they did get their first win in, and I feel like him being able to perform, him being able to impact the game in a meaningful way is so critical for this team to have success.
Exactly. I mean, it's also, coincidentally enough, the same KDA for Flowers on Skarner versus off Skarner.
Yeah, actually, I think it's probably lower than 0.9 if I'm not playing Skarner. It's pretty bad as Castle is in some danger up here in the top side. Thanatos and Blabber working together to end his world, and that they shall do. Slice and dice sure feels nice. Thanatos getting the second kill of the game for C9.
Yeah, going to be able to grab a kill, and this one is going to hurt because there's the plates going to be farmed after that. Grabs 1 plate, may be able to grab a second. DSG are going to try to make a play on the other side of the map. You can see them all moving down here to try to threaten Loki. Vulcan already there hovering. And because the Hex Gates are there, Blabber's almost back. So Blabber is out on the map a lot faster than they may expect. Let's see if they can pull it off.
Okay, Loki and Vulcan got to try to defend this as Huhi is ready to jump in with the Zenith Blade. A lot of burst down into Loki, but he's still not dead yet. Flashes very late. Vulcan still somehow staying alive. The wind becomes lightning. Tries to secure the kill, and it's a double kill over to XU. Yes, he will fall, but it's still a dub for Disguise.
Yeah, nicely done there. You know, at the end of the day, it is just like a 2-for-2 trade, but they're making the aggressive play. They're getting the TP out. So the fact that they actually get that TP out, I thought this was going to go so much worse for them. When I saw that teleport coming in from Thanatos and how quickly Blabber was there, I thought it was going to be an absolute disaster. And Vulcan does end up going down at the very end of it. They're going in here. They decide, you know what, we're just going to commit. The teleport was already coming in before they even go in for the Zenith Blade, but Huhi does lock up Loki. They get the stun on him. XU is there to follow. They kill off Loki quite quickly, critically. Unfortunately, Huhi goes down on the other side, and then great backstep from Scary Jerry. You know, as he's shooting in the arrow, Vulcan backsteps it, but that means he walks back in XU, who's just barely able to finish him off.
Really good timing there from Vulcan on the Glacial Fissure as well. You could see in the replay, it launched Huhi up into the air at the very edge of the turret range, which just allowed enough time for that last turret shot to finish the kill on the Leona that otherwise would have been able to walk away after the initial dive because of the tankiness of Aftershock and Eclipse. So well done there. But honestly, really impressive first 15 minutes here from Disguised, going head-to-head, toe-to-toe here with the #1 team from the first phase.
Absolutely. I mean, they should be proud of how they are playing in this game. They were able to take down TL, get their first real win. They did get one win in the best of 3 against Dig, but it's still a lost series in
right,
Split 1.
It's a series.
So
one doesn't matter.
I'm still not really counting it, but they were able to get their first real win against TL. We'll see if they can pick up a game here against C9. That would do a lot for their confidence, but they are a long way from being able to actually close out this game, and it's C9 that still is in the gold lead. Largely, I'm going to assume because of the 50 CS lead up in top lane, plus the kill, plus the plate. I mean, it was already bad, but then it got so much worse. When you're already losing a matchup and then you die with the wave pushing into your tower, you're going to lose plates, you're going to lose even more. And now Castle just feels like he's completely out of the game. Had a really strong game 1 on the Vladimir, did great in the 1v1, got a solo kill. Thanatos then obviously, you know, through team play was able to get way ahead, but this one was rough already in the 1v1 for Castle, and then that one gank seems to have just kind of opened the floodgates, and Thanatos is miles ahead now, it feels like.
Yeah, Thanatos is primed for raid boss status here in this one, as Disguised are ready to start up yet another one of these neutral objectives up here in the top side. They're kind of playing the same role that Cloud9 did in game #1, just completely owning the top river objectives the entire time. Yes, C9 got the one grub, but that's about it. Now,
Leave
down
him
here in
alone.
the bottom lane, Thanatos is just going to continue scrapping with Castle. Even though he gets hit by the Q3, he's still happy to slice and dice in there, keep the trade going for an elongated period of time. As back in mid,
Blabber's behind
looks like
him.
this turret should go down. They'll just go ahead and force that one out with the Rift Herald as the ulti from Aatrox used by Castle. So no World Ender going to be available if a fight breaks out anytime here soon. XU taking the Hex Gate back over the wall, has already popped his sweeper. We know Cloud9 is in the bushes, but XU just going to jump over to the Krug, so C9 won't have a chance to jump on him.
Yeah, Blabber was kind of just moving back and forth there. You know, at first he was moving down bot. I thought they could have had a guaranteed dive on bot, but then I think he saw there's a better play towards mid, as the Herald got some in mid. So he tried to move up towards mid to try to find a play there. Couldn't get anything there, then started moving back towards bot again, and it was kind of like this 30 seconds to a full minute of trying to look for a play, not finding either. I think had he just committed down towards that bot lane one, they would have been able to get a kill and at least, you know, trade something for that Herald play mid. But at the end of the day, they can't find it. And gold sitting dead even. It really is just kind of a tale of two lanes. It is the gold lead for Abbedagga versus the gold lead for Thanatos. And DSG are continuing to play through side lane. They need to do this. I don't want to see them just group 5 and team fight because I think they're going to lose. So I want to see them continue to extend the lead, utilize Abbedagga, play through side lanes. If they overcommit to one side lane, realm warp away, look for a play elsewhere. That's the kind of play style that you have to do. It's got to be this run and gun style of play. Don't just group 5 and walk into this Braum and Victor and Ezreal, because I don't think you're going to win.
And I feel like we've seen a lot so far in this first 18 minutes. The weakness of Cloud9's lack of engage. Every single time we're looking at a play, it's Disguise starting it off.
Yeah.
Whether they're actually going after C9 or whether they're just making sure they're at the objective first, like they've done at the Grubs and at the Herald, C9 has such a difficult time walking up and challenging them.
And it's one of the reasons I'm really not a fan of compositions that are low and engaged. They can absolutely work. Like I said in Champ Select, if you just win all your lanes and you show up to the objectives, your opponents try to walk into you, you just kind of poke them out as they're walking in, and then you kind of win the fight that way. But they didn't win all their lanes this time, and DSG is actually being very competitive, so now you're seeing those weaknesses. Right now, though, C9 is just going to try to trade. You can see Victor slapping that tower up down up in top lane, excuse me, down in the lower third. You can see that. And at the same time, DSG are going to be able to grab the dragon. They're going to be able to grab a tower of their own. And Abbedagga is just getting richer and richer, closing in on that completed Roa. It's stacking up. It's at 7 right now and does already have the Archangels. So he is very tanky on this Rise.
The Rise is going to be a win con in this one, most certainly. That Roa, I might be blind.
7 and 8.
Okay, 7 and 8. All right, cool. As Loki does get caught here, it's exactly what we talked about in Champ Select. If who he lands the CC, the chains are guaranteed, and that forces the flash out of the victor as Loki has to hobble home.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get that flash. I wonder if he used WQ instead of the hail of arrows first. Would he be able to have enough damage to actually kill him? Because the WQ did get flashed since he used that E first. It gave time for Loki to be able to get out of there, but maybe thought the CC chain would have lasted a little bit longer. Either way, still a good play there from DSG. Able to get that flash off of Loki, who's now going to be really vulnerable because no flashes were spent.
I mean, it could just be a Merc Treads diff, right?
Yeah.
If you're normally used to catching out a carry, you're thinking, okay, with a Leona combo, there's enough time, shoot rain of arrows, then I can hit the big shot. But just that little bit of difference in the tenacity of the Mercury Treads could allow the victor to get out of the way in time. Either way, Loki survives. Otacon spawns up in the top side of the map. Still a 5-4 game favoring Disguised, but it's plus 100 gold for C9. This one is teetering on a knife's edge. I feel like the first big team fight that we get, how that goes, is going to decide the next 15 minutes of play.
No, I completely agree, and I really am just looking at Abbedagga and Thanatos, right? Who is going to be the one to make a big difference with their gold advantage, right? Both of these players have an early 2 items. You can see this Derek's now completed for Thanatos. You know, if one of those guys, you know, falls flat on their face in a team fight or gets picked off before the team fight or loses their cooldowns, that is going to be all of the kind of big advantage for the squad gone. And it is going to be DSG already starting this up, but there's 2 wards that are spawning it right now. The pink, because of where it's placed, doesn't see over that wall because the wall is between it and the ward. So that's why it's not actually spotting that ward there.
Ooh, Sven getting away there as the Infernal Chains from Castle find him over the wall. Disguised still keeping it up here after the Otacon.
This is so
have
risky.
it down to about half HP. Yeah, this is very risky. Otacon eats through the
Here's the
resistances
TP.
like crazy. Teleport coming in from Thanatos as Cloud9 is ready to contest. Abbedagga finds Loki. Nice amount of burst into the Cloud9 mid laner, but Thanatos is going after Abbedagga. That's a very valuable target there as Thanatos takes down the MVP. And C9 now ready to take the fight afterwards. Who he is low as Scary Jerry tries to get away from the crocodile, but there's no way out. That dude rules the river. It's a triple kill for Blabber as Castle's the last man standing on a Disguise, and the question is answered. Thanatos is him.
Yeah, Thanatos is going to reign supreme in this fight as C9 just dismantled DSG. DSG kind of getting softened up by the Otacon. They decide to turn on Loki. The problem being, this is where the Renekton is arriving. So you're trying to run into where the Renekton is going to be to knock down Loki. They can't 100 to 0 him, which means he gets his full spell combo out, and then Abbedagga is just standing on top of a Renekton as he teleports in. He's able to get right in on him, take him down, and as Scary Jerry is running away, it feels like it's Otacon plus Thanatos versus Scary Jerry. He tries to hit the Q over the wall, takedowns Ven, cannot do it. It is a 4-for-1 plus the Otacon, and that feels like that for the series.
You ever see the movie Independence Day with Will Smith from back in the early 2000s?
Yes.
You know at the end
I
when the
actually
guy
love that
flies
movie.
the jet right into the airplane, right into the alien mothership and destroys it?
Yeah.
That was Loki right there. He didn't need to survive. He just needed to crash that jet straight into the alien thruster, and that's what he did. And his team won the whole game from it. Exactly. It's an 0-7 from me, brother.
You'll be remembered, Loki.
Loki did his job, and he did it right. Blabber also the one hugely benefiting from that previous fight, racking up a triple kill on the Nefiri. The dog is barking.
It's looking good, man. It's looking good for C9 now. Just like that, this game was really on a knife's edge, as you said. And then all of a sudden, 3.6k gold lead plus the Otacon stats. I don't think it's going to be as severe as last game. Yeah, 15 now instead of the 2 roses from last game.
Yeah.
And then C9 does have 38, but still, of course, they are going to be feeling really, really good. And they get 25% increased effect from all other epic monster rewards. So they are going to be getting, you know, more from any dragons that they do pick up. And C9 definitely is going to be wanting to fight this next dragon here. I don't think you want to give DSG a free 3rd dragon because that is a potential win condition for them, especially since it is Hex Hextech Soul. You can see Loki is basing. He's going to TP down towards the team, and then they're going to try to reclaim control in that river together.
And the only gold lead left on Disguised for individual roles is
Thanatos.
Abbedagga on the rise, but a nice interrupt there on Thanatos as he tried to slice away.
no
The
TP.
third Talon Strike collided. And so, yeah, with the Renekton not having a way to heal up and get back to the fight, do C9 actually have to surrender this? Blabber's saying no. He's taking the Hex Gate going behind him, but now Sven and Loki in some danger as Sven goes over the wall, but he's surely to die here. Enough damage comes through, and Abbedagga's doing the killing as Loki tries to get out, but Scary Jerry takes him out.
I want more.
C9 on the run as Disguise continue their chase, and Vulcan's going to be the next target. C9, too overconfident. They wanted to stick around when their raid boss was half HP, and Disguised had the gear to clear. They will earn themselves a win in this fight, and they will earn themselves soul point.
Man, I'm even more impressed. You know, the fact that they were able to get some early advantages, that happens sometimes in these games, but it is very rare to see a bottom team fighting back from a big gold deficit like that. They get the initial chunk onto Thanatos, they're able to punish him, and then when they see the Hexgate getting taken, they're going over the wall, and now they're going to commit to the Baron. They're saying, you know what? No TP on Loki, let's just send it.
This is some killer instinct from Disguised, and I am loving what I'm seeing. Blabber jumps over the wall, but he's met with a control ward, and Huhi just waiting for him if he tries to enter. Now the Baron down to about 4,000. Blabber thinking about trying to go in for the steal as Huhi's going to be the target as C9 arrives. They immediately jump in, finding a ton of damage down onto Abbedagga, but they can't kill him off here just yet. Thanatos has made his way into the back line, killing off XU. Abbedagga's going to fall. Scary Jerry 2. Only 2 left alive on Disguised as C9 may have lost the Baron, but the punish is downright disastrous. Huhi surely dies here, and that means there's only one man standing left on Disguised with the Baron buff, and it's Castle's Aatrox.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I respect the commitment. You talked about, you know, Loki flying the plane into the mothership, taking him down. This was all of TSG getting into the plane and then crashing on the runway.
Oh, no.
This was, I respect the commitment, but I think the Hexgates make it so hard to go for these sort of rush plays. We're going to go back to the earlier play. They already had the chunk out. They saw that Blabber was going through on that Hexgate, so they say, you know what? We can just engage on the other side. Thanatos was looking for a flank. He split. They get in. They kill off Sven. They kill off Loki. It's looking good, but because of the Hexgates, because of how chunked down they are, how are they ever going to win this fight? Like, look at Scary Jerry's health. Look at Castle. Look at XU. Abbedagga's over on the side trying to zone them out, but he has no flash, so he has no way to escape. He's giving his life already, so there's no way you're ever going to win this fight. So it has to be a clean take and exit. And because they didn't have Realm Warp, that was never going to happen, right? So I just think that they kind of, you know, bit off way more than they could chew. I like the confidence to go for the attempt, but they definitely miscalculated on the time it would take for C9 to get there. The way that they're posturing, the way that they're taking that fight, you never, ever, ever win the 5v5 after.
And now Huhi in some danger, has to flash away as Thanatos finds him. Important to note the Guardian Angel on the Renekton now as well means Thanatos can full send it in whichever fight he chooses to. But C9 have to make sure they're not getting too far ahead of themselves. I feel like they have not given Disguise due respect at a couple of different points in this game, largely throughout the early game, but then especially that fight that led to Disguise being able to claim the Baron.
I mean, Abbedagga is a very big boy. That last fight, you know, over by the Baron, he wasn't even really involved because he just kind of walked in, maybe, you know, thinking he could just kind of zone them out and then they could get the Baron and the rest could get out. But because he didn't have his flash, he just died. He is on 3 items with the Zonias, 2.3k gold lead. And they still do have the Baron on 1. There's a TP coming in, though. They are going to spot it. Can DSG get out?
C9 trying to go in for this one. The aggressive Glacial Fissure finds Huhi, knocks him up into the air in the first kill, finds Disguise support. Now Thanatos is still trying to make his entry into the fight, but the Realm Warp for the Exfiltration clutch there from Abbedagga.
Really well done. Going to be able to get out. Sure, it sucks that you lose Huhi, but honestly, all things being equal, you'd rather lose your support than anyone else. And it is the flash being used there by Vulcan. It's the teleport being used by Thanatos. So they're not going to be that concerned about it. They will be out here to defend the tier 2 mid. And they're going to have a shot. I mean, they are going to be able to look in towards this next dragon here. That would be Hex Soul. And they do have a Poke Ferris to be able to apply it. You know, they are going to be really strong if they can grab it. That will more than eliminate the gold lead. So we'll see if DSG can actually make it happen.
That's what it comes down to for me. If I'm looking at Disguised's honest chances of winning this game, I feel like they need to secure this next Drake because that'll give them enough momentum. Otherwise, I think that C9's gold lead will be enough to continue putting the pressure on, and Disguised might not still be competitive in time for another Drake 5 minutes from then.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just one of the things that has been so tough throughout this entire game for DSG is this Castle has just not been a factor. I mean, Castle has been so far down and out, it feels like almost from the word go. Thanatos really had his number in this one, dominated him in the 1v1, got massively ahead, and things have kind of just gotten worse because Thanatos has been picking up kills. Castle hasn't gotten anything.
All right, Disguise thinking about contesting the enemy blue buff, but not going to find it. Blabber going in. They want to go after Scary Jerry, but they don't have enough damage here at the start. Blabber needs to use the Hound's Pursuit to try to get away. He's nearly dead. Shut down by Scary Jerry. Disguised kills the enemy jungler with 25 seconds until the Dragon Soul.
Yeah, that's smelling like a DSG Dragon. We'll see if they can get it. There are some low health bars, though. Abadoga is going to push up, but Thanatos is moving over to him. If Abadoga gets caught out, this could be awkward. They're going to try to look for him.
Yeah, Thanatos looking for the rise. The rest of C9 trying to put the pressure on Disguise to make it so they can't help their mid laner, but Disguise now ready for the re-engage. Castle has found Loki, and the Victor is in a tough spot. Abadoga looking to cut off the bottom lane of Cloud9 as Loki is trapped in his own stasis, has to flash over the wall to try to stay alive. Scary Jerry under pressure. Thanatos doing the work. The man refuses to lose. He's already killed 2. XU with the flashback over the wall. And Thanatos will not be denied. Another hit comes through. A double kill for Sven. Thanatos is just winning the game 1v9.
That is not a crocodile. That's Godzilla in the back line. Thanatos going crazy in the 4v5. Gets into the back line. Dominates the fight here. We can watch it one more time. Abadoga did have him marked, but as he goes for the Realm Warp play here, he kind of splits up from the rest of the team, and Thanatos realizes the strongest member is no longer here. They're all focusing on Loki, and here comes the Croc. Flash slice in onto Scary Jerry, stuns him up. The Dice finishes him off. He is incredibly low in the middle of the team, and because he has the GA, he's just going to keep going for it. Slice back up, another stun there onto Abadoga, gets help from Sven over the wall. But they didn't mark the strongest man. They looked for Loki. They looked for Sven. They lost track of where the Renekton was. And Thanatos has been the difference maker here for Cloud9.
What a game from Thanatos, man. 6-0-4 on the Renekton. 3,500 personal gold lead in a game where the team is not even up quite 5K. He is seriously the X factor in this one, and I just cannot praise this guy enough.
The X factor, he's the ABC factor.
He's the whole A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, whatever you want to call him. The dude is it. And now C9 are starting up the Baron themselves. The Scryer's Trinket is going to point it out, but can Disguised even make their way over here in time? C9 is slowing their take of the Baron. They've got it down to about 40%, but they are really slowing this down, and it looks like they might not be able to fully secure it. Thanatos has got to be careful here. Now it looks like Disguise might have found the pick that they need. The Dominus gets procced. He's still got his Guardian Angel. No, he doesn't. Thanatos is shut down, but now Castle's got to try to get away. He's going to be the target as Sven takes him out. XU and he have already fallen, but the trade is Thanatos.
Yeah, the trade is Thanatos, but Castle could base and TP back, so I still think they can potentially contest this. We'll see if they're going to try to walk in here. It would be a 3v4, but they do have the teleport. They still have Abadoga, who's their strongest member.
Okay, the Baron's down to about 2,000 here. Blabber should just be able to smite secure this. Easy peasy. C9 locking that up as Abadoga wants to try to get away, but he's stunned before the Realm Warp goes through. Abadoga with a critical mistake there at the very end. He's been having such a good game overall, I feel, but getting picked off there, now dead for 50 seconds as C9 is armed with the Baron. Thanatos is still dead, but he'll be up in 15, and he has a teleport ready as soon as he spawns.
Yeah, this is going to be really tough to hold here. We'll see if they're going to be able to do it. Blabber's already in the base behind them, by the way. He hopped over the wall here, and he's trying to threaten that flank onto Scary Jerry, making it so he can't even step up to clear the wave, or he would just die. So now they're going to have to give up the inhib for free, and they're just going to have to try to turtle it up here, wait it out at the Nexus for Abadoga, but there's a teleport from Thanatos. C9 wants the end.
Disguise is without their strongest player for the next 15 seconds, and Thanatos is going to lead the charge here for Cloud9, but a lot of damage down onto the Croc, and he's already out of the picture. Nice defense from Disguise, but C9 are not done yet. He low, but not exactly close to death. Still holding on with about 30% of the health bar as Loki has to retreat because Abadoga is spawning in 5 seconds. He has a teleport now too. C9 once again getting to a aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, Thanatos just kind of flew on in there, disrespected the amount of CC that DSG do have. You are going to get locked up for such a long time. You have the knockup from the Xin Zhao. You have the ultimate from the Varus. You have chain CC from the Leona. Even the knockups are coming through there from Castle, and he still didn't have his GA back, so just kind of dives in. He's tanking up the towers. He's getting CC'd. He gets burst down, and it means C9 cannot end. They will have Renekton back, and they will have GA critically for this next fight at the next Dragon, where we'll see DSG trying again to set up for that soul. We'll see if they can do it. Castle still working towards his third item. His fourth item is already completed there on the other side for Thanatos. So again, it's just all about Thanatos. Abbedagga critically needs to get his death cap done. He does have the gold, so he's basing now. He will have his fourth item with that death cap. That is going to be massive for him. But DSG just need to find a way to actually deal with the Renekton, because even when they get good picks on the other side, if you spend all your resources to kill Sven or Loki, we have seen time and time again, Thanatos will just clear the fight.
Yeah, Thanatos absolutely monstrous here. Remember, on the previous attempt for the Soul, it was Disguised who found a pick on Blabber that looked like it should have locked everything up despite the 3,500 gold lead for C9, but then Thanatos has his raid boss fight, C9 still secure it. Now this time around, C9 have not lost any men before the spawn, and that gold lead has ballooned from 3,500 to over 6,000.
Yeah.
So the job is much more difficult for Disguised.
Yeah, I mean, it is really hard, right? You know, it's no longer just Thanatos. It's actually a bigger individual gold lead for Blabber. The Ezreal is massive at this point as well, you know, working on his final item there. So C9 have definitely had a chance to scale, but DSG have shown they have that never say die attitude in this game. They have been continuing to look for plays. They have been continuing to look for fights. Right now, they're going to try to trade on top side. So I think they've decided, you know what, we're going to give up this Dragon. We're going to try to play through Abbedagga, go for the split push. I do like this. He has the death cap. You know, maybe he can catch someone in the side lane, try to get something back. At the very least, we'll get that isolated gold onto him. And will he continue the push? No, he's just going to try to back off, take some jungle camps, and just try to get as much money in his pockets as he possibly can for what would be, you know, the next Dragon, which is soul point for both teams now. So that's when they have to fight, absolutely. And they're just saying, you know what, we're not really in a strong enough point to fight right now. We don't have enough vision. Let's just wait and fight another day.
But even before that guaranteed Soul Dragon spawns, we've got only 2.5 minutes until the next Baron rears its head. You have to think that both teams are going to be putting all eyes on Topside River, and that's exactly what Cloud9 is up to as they move 4 of their players into that area. They want to clear out the vision, want to make sure that Disguised is afraid that this thing might just die on spawn.
Yeah, I mean, and you really have to be, because they are very high damage at this point. You have a carry jungler. You have a lot of threats here who are very fed. Castle's going to be pushing up in this bot lane here. They're trying to look for this tier 2 down in bot, you know, trying to keep Castle relevant as much as they possibly can. He has at least now finished his third item and does have the Executioners on top, so it's not as bad as it once was. But Thanatos is going to be heading down there to answer. And the XP disadvantages are really not that big, because C9 is already capped out pretty much across the board. You know, it's all level 18s. So
except Braum.
Exactly. So it's just XU and Scary Jerry that are down a little bit of experience, but that is going to close over time.
C9 now ready to move back up into this topside river, but critically for Disguise, they have secured themselves the Scuttle Crab, so that's at least going to give them a little bit of an advantage here in these last 90 seconds leading up to the Baron spawn. Thanatos continuing to push out the bottom wave, does have his teleport and flash both. Checking in on summoner spells across the table. Everybody's got everything. This next fight is going to be a nuclear explosion, one way or the other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see how they're going to be able to pull this off. Castle's still down here on that bottom side. You can see that Thanatos is moving up towards the team as Hui's trying to get into their jungle and get a little bit of vision, but clearly doesn't have the confidence to do it. He saw the vision plant get hit there by Thanatos and just kind of had to back it up. And the map is very dark right now for DSG. If we can kind of look from their point of view, they do have the Scuttle, they do have some deep wards, but their side of the map, they have very little vision. They at least do spot Thanatos, and Castle gets a nice chunk.
Yeah, Castle with some good damage there, but Thanatos positioning himself in a way where he gets the dice after the slice. Now flashing out of the way of the Infernal Chains. Honestly, good looks there really from Disguised.
I mean, getting that flash is actually so big. It did cost the ultimate for Castle, but of course that is going to be up a lot faster than the flash. They just have to make sure they don't fight until Aatrox has his ulti. but Renekton with no flash really can struggle to actually reach the backline here if he's marked well by some of these CC champions like the Leona.
And with the priority they
Loki
earned
went too
there,
far. He's got
Disguised
TP.
are now making their move towards Loki up here in the top lane. They forced the TP to escape, so now Loki going to continue putting the pressure over in mid, and we'll see how Disguised choose to answer this as C9 recognizing that Disguised could be going after the Baron. Thanatos making his way back into the mix. His castle's ready to intercept them. Finds a couple of Qs. Thanatos slicing forward. The Aatrox honestly dealing with this Fed Renekton pretty well at this point in the game. We're got so late into the game now that Thanatos may have met his match. He's bursted down, but he's not killed quite yet. Finally knocked into the Guardian Angel as XU jumps on top of Loki, trying to protect Scary Jerry, but Jerry's already fallen. Blabber takes out Huhi as Thanatos and the rest of Cloud9 scramble to try to stop the solo laners of Disguise. Abadaga falls. Disguised is erased off of the map. The only thing C9 lost was a Guardian Angel, and this game is done.
Cloud9 make it happen at the end of the day.
I thought we were going to get some comms. We didn't. That's all right. C9 on their victory push. They're going to make this one a victory 2-0, 26-12. Disguised made them work for it here in the second game, but C9 remain victorious.
At least we won, guys.
Nicely done by C9, 2-0, but definitely, like you said, made him work for it. This second game, I want to say it was the best performed game I feel like we saw